Recording in progress.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Can you hear me? Please confirm in the chat box. Can you hear me? Please confirm in the chat box. Thank you. Thank you for your responses. Okay, let's stop the chat. Our agenda for today's session is to get into features of S3. In the last session, we have understood basic operations of S3. We have understood about S3. S3 is all about object storage, and it provides different features. Every object can be accessed using object URL. We know how to create a bucket. You can use S3 only when you create a bucket. So first step, what we have done is we have created a bucket, and then we have learned how can we upload the objects in the bucket. I hope you remember all this. Basic operations. The S3 dashboard is global. There's no concept of region specific. I hope you have understood that point also, which is very important, unlike EC2 dashboard. Today's session, we are more getting into the practical features of S3. Some special features we have in S3, like version controlling, static website. You can use a S3 bucket for static website hosting. What is the importance of classes and TS? When should we go for cross-region replication, transfer acceleration, encryption? So these are the topics which I want to discuss in this particular session. So before getting into the today's session, yes, so let's have interaction with some of the participants, starting with Masood from Dhaka. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hi, Masood. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. How are you, Sunil?
Doing well, thank you.
Thank you for conducting such a wonderful training session, and I've been waiting to talk to you since last couple of days.
Yeah, I've seen your chat message.
That's why, because whenever I raise the hand, I don't get any chance to talk with you guys.
Okay.
Most of the time I see you take the audience from the Indian team only. Okay.
It's nothing like that. I randomly pick up the participants, so that's it.
Okay, fine. So Cyril, I want to actually send you the payment, okay? Because end of the this one training sessions, I'll be either in between I'll send, or end of the month only.
You can send.
What is the way? Do you accept credit card payments? Because I can send you because I have a credit card, international credit card. I can send you the.
You're talking about payment for this AWS training of 990.
Right.
You have PayPal?
I don't have PayPal, but because I have a credit card, I can send you the payment through the credit card.
So from PayPal accepts credit card. I think so.
Yeah, okay. but Bangladesh doesn't have any credit card. Okay. I mean, sorry, Bangladesh has no PayPal service. Bangladesh has no PayPal service.
So Bangladesh is no. Okay. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll send you my Indian bank account details. You can transfer to Indian bank account. Is it possible?
Yeah, that is also possible. From Dubai, I can send you this amount, Indian equivalent. The credit card would be just a few seconds. And moreover, I just want to tell you, Cyril, that is, I'm into IT profession since last 20 years. Okay, I'm in the field of VMware. Okay, so now since I have already taken training, self-training over here in Dhaka, Bangladesh.
Self-training on which course?
AWS and Azure I have taken. YouTube, as well as I have participated in the training institutes in the Dhaka itself.
In the Dhaka. Okay.
Dhaka only. So, and I'm already associate certified. I'm already
very good. You are already certified. So you already know whatever we are learning.
Yes. But your class is more interactive. Your class is compared to my training institute in Bangladesh, the trainer is giving me. Your one is more practical oriented. Here they provide almost 40 class. Each class 40 session, and each session more than 1.5 hours. Okay.
Oh my God, 60 hours of training.
60 hours of training, but theory is too much, And whatever I found is your one is more interactive, and it's a really job-oriented part. Your training is more on the job.
More focused on the practical aspects.
Practical and job aspects.
And
now,
our duration is 25 hours only. But if you compare it 60 hours, you'll get more than here. You'll have more content here than the other content. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm taking. I have taken the training from one of the trainer. He's in the field of. He has taken the training since in 2000. what do you say, in 13 in Bangalore. Then he came to Bangladesh and he joined in Microsoft, and he's working for a Microsoft only. So he has the knowledge of Azure as well as AWS, but he's providing training only AWS because he's already working for US companies. AWS, that's why he's interested more in AWS, and he's inspiring all the Bangladeshi youths to go switch to the AWS cloud because the jobs are more remote solution and also. So now my part was to join here is like I have done training since last 6 months. I'm certified and I have just learned the self practice and everything. So far, I'm not getting any call for the CV. Even whenever I submit the CV, because I'm fresher, because my previous background is since 2002. I'm into Microsoft platform. Then in 2008, I switched my career to VMware, and still I'm in the VMware platform only. I'm working virtualization. That's been private cloud technologies. The thing is like since now it's I need your help. I need to seek. That is okay, fine. Maybe my CV is wrong. My designing and editing of my CV is wrong. That's why I'm not getting any job call. Yeah.
In your CV, how many years of did you put up any experience on AWS?
I just mentioned that it's a 3 years of experience. That's all. What I knowledge, I just mentioned that part. Because if I mention 3 years more, then they'll ask me your certification is just
total. How many years of experience you have?
Actually, I'm a fresher in AWS. I'm a fresher in AWS.
I'm talking about total work experience.
A total work experience, I have 20 years of work experience in IT.
So last 2 years, you have 2 or 2.5 years, you have projected as AWS experience. Am I right?
That's right. That's how I projected myself in the AWS.
Okay. So did you learn, did you learn DevOps also?
No. I have not learned the DevOps because I have not gone to the DevOps.
Okay. So I strongly recommend you to learn DevOps also. Okay.
The
combination of AWS and DevOps is very, very good in the market. Okay. Especially specific to Bangladesh, is a limited market, so you'll have a definitely cutting edge advantage with respect to other profiles. Okay. So to get more number of calls, definitely you get the calls. So probably you need to make some changes. Have you put up some additional services like Lambda or something like that?
Nothing. My CV is very basic because I don't know how to edit the CV for AWS professional jobs, So that's why I do agree. I don't get the call because my CV is not presented. It's not furnished as per the AWS job requirement.
No, the first point, there are different factors, not only just profile, there are different factors which will determine the number of calls what you get it on your CV. So send your CV to me. Okay, let me have a look at it, and I strongly recommend you to learn DevOps also, Masood.
Okay, fine, no problem.
Okay, because DevOps and combination, you will have a super career. Okay.
But DevOps is more of programming part, right? Because I'm not.
DevOps is not a programming part. It's not a developer part.
Okay.
So there's no programming involved. There's no development involved in DevOps. Okay.
Also, moreover, you guys provide job support, because I see many Indian institutes, they provide after training also there are job supports and all. I mean, if you get stuck in the job, they take a monthly amount, something like that. Do your team also provide any kind of things like job support?
No, we do not provide any such kind of job support. But in case if you need any technical help, let us know. We share that information and you have to talk. We don't provide a formal job support or something like that. Okay.
But at least you help to design and edit the CV, right?
You send the CV to me.
Okay, fine. So let me arrange the payment to you, and
it's okay, not a problem.
Inshallah, we'll have a long road with you guys. Maybe I have already informed few other guys also to attend your training. You'll get more progress.
Thank you, Masood.
So I'm inspiring other guys. The main problem is like this guy doesn't have any option to send you PayPal.
Okay, no problem. Then nothing hurry to make the payment. Okay, you can do it.
Okay, we can start the session.
Thank you. It's a few more interactions. Dimit Mohanty. Dimit Mohanty. We cannot hear you, Dimit. Abhijit.
Hello. Hi, Sunil.
Am I audible to you?
Yes,
Oh,
sir,
yeah.
you are audible, Abhijit.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Sunil. Good morning.
Yep. Good morning, Abhijit. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, Sunil. So, yeah, my question is regarding the step of training. So, means what are the tools you will cover in this DevOps training?
Which training?
DevOps.
This is not DevOps. This is AWS training.
Yeah, this is AWS. No, my query is regarding the DevOps training. Which will
DevOps. Are you in the WhatsApp group?
Yes, yes.
In the WhatsApp group description, there is course content available. Okay.
Okay. And the
Okay.
payment mode. So, when should we make the payment?
First, you attend couple of sessions and then you can make payment. That's not a problem.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
There are many middlemen involved in making the payments. There are some other other resource who claim that they are the right people. So don't fall into that prey. Okay. So you please follow the official WhatsApp group. Okay.
Sure, Sunil.
Many
Sure.
people who are also creating unofficial WhatsApp groups and don't fall under that groups. Okay.
Sure.
Be careful.
Yeah. Thank you, Sunil.
Anything only through official communication of DevOps batch. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Sure.
Many people raising their hands. Samir Kulkarni.
Hi, Sunil sir. Yes, you are a very fabulous trainer I ever seen that you are teaching, and it's so fabulous. I am attending your fourth batch right now.
Fourth batch.
Yes, from
Okay.
month of May.
Okay.
It was 4:30 p.m.
Yeah.
Meeting. After
Right.
that, I attended 6:30 morning, then
Okay.
11 last batch, and right now I'm
No,
attending.
why are you attending multiple times?
Actually, no. Actually, I procured, but I try to get your speed with
Okay.
my.
Okay.
So I didn't get yet actually, but
Okay.
I tried. When you are performing the practical, then
Mhm.
I am also performing that.
Okay. It's like a revision.
Yes, that's why, and
Okay.
I'm very interested in AWS. So
Okay.
just one request to you,
Hmm.
if any means I'm also freshers in
Mhm.
AWS, but
Mhm.
it's very interesting training. I like that very much. So please
How many
share.
total years of experience you're having in the IT?
Actually, yes, I have 8-year experience in IT infrastructure and currently working as a Windows admin in Datamatic Global Service. I'm from Mumbai.
Okay.
And previously I already discussed with these all things.
Okay.
And yes, so you are adding my request in your session that the point of interview question, how
Mhm.
the asking the question, and you are going to very means I very interested in AWS, and you are going to learn teaching very fabulous.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay, Samir. Thank you.
One
Mhm.
share if you have, because we are all are
Any
freshers in.
technical questions? Yeah.
Yes. So no, I don't have any technical question, but just one request that
Mhm.
share the format of
Frequently asked questions you're talking about, isn't
yes,
it?
AWS.
Every session, every
Yes.
example, what we are learning is from the practical orientation point. Gone are the days where we used to get frequently asked questions and we get it from the interview. It's all about conceptual knowledge, Samir. If
Yes.
you are strong in concept, okay, you can definitely clear the interview. You can definitely answer the questions. Okay. Frequently asked questions, again, when can you understand it? Only when you're strong in the concept. So focus on the concept. Okay. Then you automatically clear the questions. That's not a problem. Okay.
Sir, as per
Hands-on
Mohammed
is
said,
also important, not just
yes,
listening.
yes. I already going through that, and that's why I'm very friendly and with AWS right now.
No,
Because
thank you.
that's with you. That's why.
Good.
And please share the one sample resume.
Sample
So
resumes are already there in the Telegram group. Are you in the Telegram group?
yes, sir.
Okay, you check the Telegram group. Already there in the Telegram group. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. One more interaction before getting into the concepts. Lavanya Katagadda. Good morning. How are you doing? No response. Okay. Any technical questions, Rohini?
Yes, sir. Morning. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Actually, I had a couple of questions from the last two classes. Whereas like
related to S3?
Not S3. Regarding the moving the EBS, right? That is we have done.
Volumes.
Yeah. So here is my question for the, can't we move the root volumes from one zone
From
to
one
another
region to other region.
Yeah, another region. Yeah. And another
one minute before going to second question, I want to discuss about the first question. Okay, your question is, can we move the root volume? Okay.
Yeah.
What does root volume contains? Root volume generally contains operating system plus any additional softwares which you install, that also will be a part of the root volume, isn't it?
Correct. Yes, sir.
When you want to move the root volume, in other words, we can achieve this by creating a AMI. AMI is nothing but root volume. Okay.
Correct.
So that's how we have. So the solution is AMI. Whenever you want to move the root volume, the solution, what AWS says is, create an AMI from the source EC2 machine, and then you can move the AMI. Okay. So that's how we can move the root volume. So using AMIs, we can move the root volumes from one region to other region. Clear, Rohini? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you.
Next question.
Next question, does the AMI contains only software, or it will be contains the hardware as well?
Hardware in the sense?
I mean, like we will be giving the CPU count and the memory and
the size. It's only the volume, the storage.
Okay.
Okay. And the source destination EC2 machine can have a different RAM. Okay. Or more processors. Doesn't make any difference. Okay.
Once we create a AMI for the root volume, so we move to Singapore, to one region to another region. The existing region will be, the original region will be there in the Mumbai, right?
Yeah.
Just the image we are
deleted.
copying. Yeah.
Copy paste, duplicate. Okay.
Okay.
That's what happens.
Regarding the S3 bucket, I currently working on S3 bucket itself, but we create an instance and install the Minayo servers on that, all the softwares. But thing is like, I know that I got to know that how to create the bucket and all. But thing is like, if you're in the EC2 instance, how to install the Minayo and create the bucket in that and access from the UI. Is that possible to explain? That would be really helpful.
Okay. For that, we need to introduce a concept called roles. Okay, you have to wait, Rohini. Okay.
Yeah, sure, sir. That's it from my end, sir. Thank you so much.
Let's get into the concepts. So Rohini, you know all these features of versioning, static website hosting, encryption, metadata, cross-region replication, transfer acceleration. So are you aware of all these features?
No, sir. These all are pretty new to me.
Okay. So let's move on. Let's log into AWS. Thank you for the count. Thank you for the count. There are more than 2,000 participants attending this. So please maintain this interest till the end of the course. Okay. To get the best of the training, you need to maintain the momentum, and then you need to do also hands-on. Services. That's it. No buckets. I do not have any buckets. So whenever you want to do anything on S3, you have step what you need to do is to create a bucket. 1 minute, please. So let's proceed and go ahead and create a bucket. So bucket creation is pretty simple. We know that we already have experienced in the last session. So let's go ahead and create it. Create bucket. Bucket name can be anything. I want to create a bucket in the Mumbai region. That's fine. By default, the bucket is blocked. I want to remove the block. I acknowledge the settings and then I go ahead and create a bucket. That's it. Okay, so bucket name was already existing. That's fine. I'm done with creating the bucket. So bucket is created. Okay. So these are the topics which we need to discuss about S3 buckets. To start with, I want to discuss about versioning. To start with, I want to discuss about the versioning feature in S3. We have created a bucket. Select the bucket. There are a lot of features. Can you see under properties? There are a lot of features, but everything is disabled. Can you see? Bucket versioning disabled. Okay. Tags, there are no tags. Encryption disabled. Everything is disabled. Server access logging disabled. AWS cloud trial, no cloud trials. Transfer acceleration disabled. By default, every feature disabled. Everything is disabled. Object log disabled. All the special features by default are disabled. Whenever you want, you have to understand the feature, enable the feature, and I use that particular feature as per the client requirement. Now I want to discuss about the first feature called as versioning. I want to discuss about the first feature called as versioning. Can you see here we have an option called bucket versioning. Right now it is disabled. So what do you mean by, let's get into the concept of versioning. We are discussing about the versioning feature. There are two advantages, very, very important. There are two advantages of versioning. Advantage one, you can recover the deleted object. You can recover the deleted object. Advantage two, as the name suggests, when you enable versioning, AWS S3 bucket maintains different versions of the object. It maintains different versions of the object. So generally, I have seen many interviews when it asked about versioning, as the name suggests, they only mention focus on this particular second advantage. When you enable versioning, you can maintain different versions of the object. So they focus on only second advantage, but even the first advantage is important. When you enable versioning, the first advantage what you get is you can recover the deleted object. So first step, what I want to show you is how can we recover the deleted object. The first advantage what I want to show you is how can we recover the deleted object. Okay. First, Rohini, can we have a talk?
Sure, sir.
Can you see right now I am in the properties dashboard. Right now bucket versioning is disabled. So what I want to do first, I want to enable versioning. Okay. Click on edit and then enable the versioning feature. Okay. That's it.
So how frequently it will do a versioning, sir? It will be a day-wise versioning or
no.
like a month?
I'll show you practically. So I have created a bucket and I have enabled versioning in the bucket. So if I want to showcase the first advantage is we can recover the deleted object. Okay. First, let's upload the object. Right now, there are no objects in the bucket. Let's upload an object. Okay.
Okay.
This is the object which I want to upload. AWS image is the name of the object which I want to upload. Okay. AWS underscore image.jpg is the name of the object which I want to upload. Let's first upload it. AWS underscore image is the name of the object. I have uploaded the object.
Okay.
I provide grant public access. Upload. Object is uploaded. Once the object is uploaded, how can we access the object? We know that we can access the object using a unique URL called as object URL. You can see I'm able to access the object using object URL. Fine. Okay.
Okay.
Next point. It's very important to understand this first advantage. It is very, very important to understand the first advantage, how to recover the deleted object. So let's have a pictorial representation. This is a bucket. I already have uploaded an object into the bucket. I already have uploaded the object into the bucket. Okay. I already have uploaded the object into the bucket, and this is the object which I have uploaded AWS image. Okay. Next point. Where I want to delete the object. Once we delete the object, I'll show you how can we recover it. Select the object. Delete. You can see successfully deleted object. It is very obvious that the object is deleted. Right now, the bucket is no objects. Okay. Technically, what happens is when you enable versioning, when you delete an object, we think that object is deleted. No, it's wrong. Object is not deleted. Object is there in the bucket only. It is marked as deleted. I repeat again. When we delete an object, we think from end user point of view, we think that the object is deleted. Technically, object is not deleted. Object is marked as deleted. Object is marked as deleted. If you want to recover the object, you need to remove the marker. Okay. When you remove the mark, you will get back the object. I repeat again. When you enable versioning, when you delete an object, we think that the object is deleted. No, object is not. The object is still existing in the bucket. It is marked as deleted. Now I'll show you object and the corresponding mark. Can you see here we have show versions? Right now it is disabled. I am enabling the show versions. When you enable show versions, you can see this is the object and the corresponding delete marker. This is the object and the corresponding marker. So we think that object is deleted, object is not deleted, object is marked as deleted. So what you have to do, we have to remove the mark. When you remove the mark, you can recover the object. Got it? You have to remove the mark. How to remove the mark? So this is the marker. I'm deleting the marker. Deleted. Now go back to your bucket. Are you able to get back the object which you deleted, Rohini?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I repeat one more time. I repeat one more time. So whenever we remove an object, we think that the object is removed. Technically, object is not removed. Object is marked as removed. So just remove the mark, you can recover the object. So I have very clear in explaining the first advantage. How can we recover the deleted object? You can recover the deleted object only when you enable versioning.
One question I have, sir. How many objects at a time we can delete it and remove the?
It's a checkbox, right? You can select whichever the markers you want. You can select the checkbox and delete it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Rohit. So this is how can we recover the deleted object. Now, as the name suggests, as we enable versioning, it will maintain different versions of the object. Let's experience how can we maintain different versions of the object. Let's start from the scratch. Let's start from the scratch for more clarity. I want to create a fresh bucket to show you the second advantage. Bucket is not empty. S3 bucket user interface is very, very simple. I want to start from the scratch. Done. Done. Creating a bucket. Mumbai region. Removing the block. Acknowledge the settings. Create bucket. Bucket created. Next thing, I will enable versioning. Properties. Bucket versioning. By default is disabled. Enable it. Okay. Let me create a new object. I create a new text file. Something like file name is sample.txt. In this file, I just write one line of content. My object is sample.txt file, and my object is having only one line of content. That is my first line. I will upload this particular object into the bucket, this particular sample.txt in my bucket. I have uploaded the object into the bucket. And how can we access the object? We can access the object using the object URL. We know that. Copying the object URL. And I access the object URL. So obviously I get my first line. Okay. So I have created a bucket. I have enabled versioning and I have uploaded an object. And right now the object is having one line of content. That is my first line. Okay. Now I will make some changes in my object. I'll make some changes in my object. I include one more line. I include one more line. As I have modified my object, I will upload this object into the bucket. Obviously, what happens when you upload as the file name is same, but technically what should happen, the old file will be replaced with the new one, isn't it? I have modified the object and I have uploaded my modified object. So obviously what obviously we get the latest version. So I'm accessing now the object using my object URL. Obviously I get the latest version. The latest version is 2 lines, my first line and my second line, isn't it? Am I clear? So I have modified my object and now I am able to access the new object. Okay. Clear, Masood, what I'm trying to do? I have enabled versioning and I have created the first version and then I have uploaded the second version, isn't it? Now you're able to access the second version, isn't it, Masood? Now, if you want to get the older version of the object, how can we recover the older version of the object? You can see here, go to your bucket. Can you see show versions? We have an option called show versions. The moment you enable show versions, it will show you the previous version as well as the latest version. Click on show versions. You can clearly see this is the older version. You can see the timestamp also, and this is the newer version. So when you enable versioning, bucket may maintain different versions of the file. So if you want to get the older versions, you can get the, let's say I want to download the older version of the object. This is the older version of the object. Click on download. Where I want to download it. I want to download my downloads folder. Fine. I want downloading it and I'm able to open the file. Can you see I'm able to get the older version? Yes. As you have enabled versioning, you can access the older versions of the object as well as you can also access the newer versions of the object. By default, you get the newer versions of the object, but you have a provision to access the older version. I hope I'm very clear in explaining you two advantages of versioning. First advantage, you can recover the deleted object. The second advantage is when you enable versioning, you can get the current version of the object by default, and you can also get the previous versions of the object. Clear about this? Yes. This is about the first feature called as versioning. This is about the first feature called as versioning. Let's move on to second feature. Let's move on to second feature, static website hosting. Let's move on to the second feature that I want to explain about static website hosting. You can use buckets for hosting websites. You can use buckets for hosting the websites. Okay, so if you want to have a website with some 5 pages like home page, index, home page, contact us page, services page, registration page. So if you want to create a simple website of 566 pages, you can create that particular web pages, and you can upload that particular web pages into the bucket, and you can experience bucket as a static website hosting. I want to show you how can we use. I want to show you how can use buckets for hosting the websites.
Hello.
Yes, Masood. Let's empty. I want to explain each and every property from the scratch. So I want to empty the bucket. I want to delete the bucket. Let's experience static website hosting. Okay. To have a website, if you want to have a website, minimum you should have 2 pages. Every website, if you can talk to the website designer, if your friend is a website designer, ask him how many minimum web pages we should have. We should have minimum 2 web pages as per the standards. One is index.html. The other one is error.html. For any website, we should have minimum 2 pages. One is index.html. The other one is error.html. What is index.html? Whenever you open a website, whenever you open any website, the first page what you get it is called as, actually technically it's index.html. The file name should be index.html. The first page, it is also called as home page. From end user point of view, it is called as a home page. The first page should be index.html. And in case if a website is under construction, we instead of page not found, we want to give a meaningful message to the end users who are accessing the website. So we should have error.html. So every website, if you want to have a website, minimum that website should have 2 pages. One is index.html, the other is error.html. Index.html is something like a home page. When you access www.some domain name.com, the first page what you get is actually index.html. So to show you these examples, first I will create 2 HTML files. One is index.html, the other one is error.html. First I'll create 2 HTML files. Or first let's create a bucket. Let's create a bucket. Some number. I want to create the bucket in Mumbai region. Acknowledge the settings. Create bucket. Step 1, I am creating a bucket. Step 2, I will enable static website hosting. Where you find all these features under the properties. We already have discussed about bucket versioning. Now I want to discuss about static website hosting. I want to showcase the advantage of static website hosting. Right now it is disabled. I want to enable it. When you enable static website hosting, observe. It will ask for index document, error document. Okay. Index document will be index.html. Error document is also optional, but it's always good to have error document. One is error.html. So for hosting websites, we should have minimum 2 pages. One is index.html, the other one is error.html. Save changes. Done. How many pages I have mentioned? 2 pages I have mentioned. What are the 2 pages I have mentioned? Index.html and error.html. So what I'll do, I'll create those 2 pages in my laptop. Heading tag, welcome to my website. This is close of header tag. This file I want to name it as index.html. Okay, so this is index.html, and I want to have one more file, error.html. Website under construction. This is called as what tag? What file? Error.html. So how many files I have mentioned? 2 files. One is index.html, the other one is error.html. Open index.html. Can you see welcome to my site? Okay. This is the website, the first home page. And I also want to test whether the error.html is properly working or not. Your website under construction, that's also properly working. So these 2 files, I will upload it to the bucket. Finally, those files, the website, web pages should be available in the bucket. Upload. How many files I'll upload? I will obviously upload 2 files. One is index.html, the other one is error.html. Can you see? I'm uploading all the files. Grant public access. Acknowledge the settings. Upload. Close. I have created a bucket. I have enabled static website hosting, and I have mentioned 2 files. One is index.html, the other one is error.html. So how can I access the website now? When you enable static website hosting, look at this. Go to properties. When you enable static website hosting, the moment you enable, you get the bucket endpoint. Bucket website endpoint. Bucket website endpoint, you can visualize something like a domain name. Okay, bucket endpoint is something like a domain name. I copy the bucket endpoint. Now I will access is like a domain name from the browser. Please observe what happens. The first page, what is obviously the home page is called as index.html. Are you getting welcome to my site? It can be simple welcome to a site, or if you're good in web development, you can create a menu, you can create some images, and you can have some clicks like home page, registration page, services page, clients page, contact us page. You can create those pages, upload those pages, and when you click on this link, you can provide the redirection so that the website will be up and running. Are you understanding? So that is how you can use buckets for hosting your website. What is hosting? I think many of you know hosting, but people who don't know what you mean by hosting, I'll make it very clear. If you want to have a website with some, I just want to show you a simple example, explain about in simple words, the concept of term hosting. You want to have a website, that website should have 100 images or 100 photos. You want to create a website, that website should have 100 photos. Okay. So each photo is 1 MB. The size of each photo. Each photo size is 1 MB. So you want to have how many photos in your website? 100 photos. So total size, how much is 100 MB? So 100 MB is the memory you should have. That memory is nothing but hosting space. Are you understanding? Hosting is nothing but memory. You want to have a website with some 10 videos. Each video is 1 GB. So total you have 10 GB. So where should have 10 GB? You have to upload the 10 GB in the bucket. The hosting is nothing but memory. I repeat one more time. You want to create a website. You want to create a website with 10 videos. That website should have 10 videos. Each video is having 1 GB. So total, if you want to have a website of 10 videos, you should have 10 GB memory, right? That memory is nothing but hosting space. Instead of buying the hosting space from GoDaddy or whatever it is, you can upload it into the bucket. Okay, and then you can use it as a website hosting. Many of you are having doubts. Generally, Sunil, domain name will be something like www. something like awstraining.com or something like that, right? So here our website is something like bucket endpoint. But here you are showing as like this as a domain name. Yes, what you can do, you can buy this domain name and you can link the domain name to endpoint. This is the bucket endpoint, right? So you can buy the domain name and you can link the domain name to bucket endpoint so that your domain will be, your website will be active. Got it? So this, how can we link the domain name to the bucket endpoint? That is possible using a service called as Route 53. When we learn about Route 53, I'll explain about this. Don't worry about that. But are you actually experiencing a website and you are able to see the website using the bucket endpoint? I'm sending the bucket endpoint in the chat box. I'm sending the bucket endpoint in the chat box. Pick up the bucket endpoint in the chat box and access it. Are you able to experience the website? You should also get this page, something like welcome to my website or something like that. Pick up the bucket endpoint from the chat box. Pick up the bucket endpoint from the chat box and please type yes if you are able to get the website. Please type yes if you are able to get the website. Yes, it's available all over the world. Please type yes if you're able to get the website using the bucket endpoint. You are using the S3 bucket for hosting the website. The only thing what you need is to buy the domain name. We can buy the domain name, link the domain name to bucket endpoint. As simple as that. Perfect. Thank you very much for your responses. Okay. Now you may have a question, Sunil. Okay, index.html is having welcome to my site. You may have a question, Sunil. What is the advantage of error.html? Why did you create error.html? You may have a question. Why did you create error.html? Because of any reason. Because of any reason, if the index.html is not displayed, because of any reason, if the index.html is not displayed, if the index.html is not displayed, because assuming the web page is not available or web page is disturbed or whatever it could be the reason, end users will get a message saying that site not found. Instead of website not found, we want to give a meaningful message, something like website under construction, isn't it? So such kind of images you can do it. In such cases, error.html will be displayed. In case if index.html is not displayed, automatically error.html will be displayed. So to showcase that importance of error.html, so what I'll do, I remove the index.html page from the bucket. Index.html, I am wantedly deleting the index.html. I am deleting the index.html. As I have deleted index.html, when you click on refresh, are you getting website under construction? So what is getting activated? Automatically error page gets displayed. So that is the advantage of error page. If error page is not there, we get a message page not found or website not found. Okay, is to avoid those kind of messages, we can have a meaningful image and then we can say it as website under construction so that the end user can understand that there is some maintenance activities going on. So that's the purpose of error.html. The index.html is something like a home page. If you are good in programming, you can create a very good home page. You have a very good index.html with some hyperlinks, and then you can have all those pages in the bucket, and you can experience the bucket. You can experience the website using S3 buckets. Clear? I am clear about how can we use buckets for hosting static websites. Okay, it's just static website, not the dynamic websites. Okay, any questions? Any questions in S3? Please raise your hand. Venkata Krishna.
Thanks, Suresh. It's been 7 days to reach out to you. Yeah. Okay. See, I did the same thing. I've created, while you're telling everything, right?
Parallelly, you are practicing.
Yeah. I was doing that practicing. So I have uploaded only the index file. Okay. If I go to objects and if I open, it is opening.
Okay. Yeah.
But if I go to that endpoint, you said, right? Bucket website endpoint, but it says error. So what did I miss?
Maybe you have not provided permissions. Okay. Do you provided? I have provided grant public access permissions. Okay.
Okay, I did that.
When you're uploading the object,
while uploading in the down options, we have this.
1 minute. Yeah. 1 minute. Look at this. I'll show you. I'm uploading index.html. Scroll down under property, under permissions. As
Yes.
it is a website, please provide grant public access. You maybe missed this point, okay, and acknowledge the settings.
So what if once we are uploaded, is there any way to edit
Change.
it?
Yeah, we can change it. Go to that particular file.
Okay.
Let's say this file you already have uploaded. Go to that particular file under permissions. Here you have public access. You provide read access. Edit. Okay, and you have select this checkbox. Read. Okay.
Edit. Okay.
Clear,
Fine,
Venkat?
yeah, clear, Sunil. So since I've got this opportunity, and thanks for these sessions.
Thank you.
So the
Is the
question
first
in
time
my
you're
mind.
learning AWS?
Yes.
Okay.
So I've got overall 10 years of experience. I'm into storage administration. So it is like good. I'm learning this. So tell me one thing. Let's suppose for your version or for your training, there are 2,000 people are attending.
Yes.
So all of us are becoming probably this associate solution architect. I don't know.
Not all will become certified. Okay, few will they will be certified.
Say software admin or something.
Solutions architect or whatever it is.
Yeah. It's not about all will become, but at the end of the day, they have to clear the certification. And
if they want to establish their career in cloud, they go for certification. And certification is not mandatory, isn't it? It's up to them whether they can appear it or not. Okay.
But however, in order to get an opportunity outside, when you want to change your career, it's obviously you need a certification. Right?
Yes.
I mean, that's how it is running. So I don't know. Say how. What do you see in your career? How many jobs are available? Everybody runs behind cloud. Everybody AWS. Everyone says Azure. So these many solution architects. So solution architect is not a. See, you're telling me all these features and all, but at the end of the day, I believe solution architect who is going to give a solution for anything customer comes up with a requirement.
Yes.
In cloud. Okay. I don't know. So these many. So are there really those many jobs are there for solution architects?
Equivalent jobs will never be there. Okay, obviously number of resources is always more with respect number of jobs, isn't it? The ratio differs always. Okay, but this is one of the most what we say so desired skill right now, Venkat. Okay, so that's the reason many are planning to try their luck. Okay,
thanks for
yeah. Junaid Babar.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Junaid. How are you doing?
I'm fine. What about you?
Doing well. You're from which location?
I'm from Maharashtra, Jalna.
Okay.
Actually, I'm all fresher to IT industry. I don't have any IT background.
Okay.
I'm from chemistry. Okay.
You're a fresher.
Yeah, I'm all fresher.
Okay.
Okay. I have a question that when we enable versioning.
Proceed with your question.
When we enable versioning, it keeps all the version of our data, right? It keeps all the versions of our object.
It maintains the current version. It also maintains the previous versions of the object.
The point is the S3 is chargeable on the databases, right?
Yes, you are right.
Then we have to pay all the versions.
You have to pay for that. Okay, you have to pay for maintaining all the versions of the object.
Okay. I mean, when we have 1 TB file and it keep maintaining all the version 1 TB, we have suppose 3 TB, 3 versions. Then we have to pay all the 3 versions payment, right?
Yes, you are right. When you want the advantages, you should be ready. When a client wants advantages, it should be ready to pay the bill. Okay, Junaid, you are right. Okay.
And one more, I just want a little help. If actually I want to prepare my fresher resume for AWS Cloud, AWS Solution Architect.
In the Telegram group, you have sample resumes. Okay, you can pick up from there, Junaid.
There is only DevOps. There are only for DevOps.
No, there are AWS groups also. Please, AWS sample resumes are there. I'll send an email to us. Our team will respond to you where exactly you can find the AWS sample resumes. Okay. Okay, Junai?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Kishore Chaudhary.
Hi.
Good
Hi,
morning,
Sunil.
Kishore.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for your efforts towards this.
Thank you, Kishore. Thank you very much. Any questions?
I want to know about SysOps administration.
Okay.
Can you explain more about that?
No, every role is having a different skill sets. Okay. So solutions architect is having a different services. So SysOps is a different services. Okay. Big data, there are different services. Okay. So, but whatever the role you are aiming for, this is something like a strong foundation course. You have to complete this, and then you can select this course as per your certification. Okay. As per your solution.
One more thing, I want to know the difference between DevOps and SysOps administration.
Completely different. SysOps administration is something like related to AWS cloud. DevOps is something like build and release activities, which helps in delivering the product to the client at much more faster rate with good quality. Okay. So concept is completely different. To get more about this, so you have to attend tomorrow demo class. You'll understand how exactly what is DevOps and how exactly why DevOps is booming in the current industry.
Okay, then there is no need to learn any tools or programming for
no prerequisite for DevOps.
Okay, fine, Sunil. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we have discussed two features. One is versioning, the other one is static website hosting. Let's have a quick discussion about classes. Storage classes, very, very important. Let's have a quick discussion about storage classes. To explain the storage classes, let's start from the scratch. I will empty the bucket. Storage classes is important. Let's discuss about storage classes. Okay. Before understanding, to clearly understand what is this concept of storage classes, look at a scenario. Right now, my current location is Hyderabad city. I want to travel from Hyderabad to Bangalore. I want to travel from Hyderabad to Bangalore over a train. Okay, I want to travel in train. When my plan is to travel from Hyderabad to Bangalore on a train, I can travel in a sleeper class. I can travel in general class, that is general compartment. I can travel in 2-tier AC. I can travel in 3-tier AC. I can travel in chair car. These are different classes provided by Indian Railways. Agree, I can go on a sleeper class, I can go on an AC class, I can go for general class. Finally, my destination, I will reach my destination. Every class is having its own pros and cons. Every class is having its own pros and cons, isn't it? So finally, I can reach my destination. Similarly, when you upload the object into the bucket, you can select different storage classes. AWS provides different storage classes. Every storage class will have its own advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so let's first experience it. I want to create a bucket. I want to create a bucket in Mumbai region, and by default the bucket is blocked. I want to unblock it. I acknowledge, and I create a bucket. bucket created. Okay, I want to upload an object into the bucket. That's fine. Which object I want to upload? That's how we have standard object AWS image.jpg. This one I want to upload. Fine. Selecting the object. The moment I select an object, I'm scrolling down. I providing the public access. I acknowledge the settings, and I am uploading the object. That's what we are doing, isn't it? And once the object is uploaded, what are we doing? We are selecting the object URL and accessing the object using object URL. That's what we know as of now. But I just want to tell you that AWS in S3, you can upload object in different storage classes. If you look at the PowerPoint slide, which I have used it on S3 introduction, look at this. AWS provides different types of storage classes. AWS provides different types of storage classes. Standard, intelligent tiering, standard 1A, one zone, glacier, deep glacier. There are different types of storage classes. When you're uploading an object, you can select in which storage class you want to upload the object. AWS provides different classes. You may have a question, Sunil, you have just uploaded one image. Tell me in which storage class you have uploaded. You can get that information. I have uploaded the image, isn't it? I have uploaded the image, scroll down. You will get the storage class information also. Can you see under storage class? You can see right now the object is uploaded in a standard storage class. The default storage class is standard. AWS offers different range of storage classes. AWS provides different range of storage classes. These are all the range of storage classes. These are all the range of storage classes what AWS provides. Standard, intelligent tiering, standard one zone, glacier. These are all range of storage classes. AWS provides different range of storage classes. The default storage class is what? Standard. If you do not mention any storage class, by default, every object is uploaded in the storage standard storage class. Standard storage class is a high-speed storage class. It's a high-speed storage class. You can change your object from high-speed storage class to low-speed storage class. Let's say if you want to change the storage classes, you can do that. For example, I don't want my object to be uploaded in a high-speed storage class. You can edit and change the storage class. Right now, the default is standard. Standard is a high-speed storage class. I want to change the storage class. Yes, this particular object, which object you have uploaded, you can see the object. What object? I'm talking about AWS underscore image.jpg. This particular object by default is stored in standard storage class. Standard storage class is a default storage class and a high-speed storage class. If you don't want that particular object in a high-speed storage class, you can move the object from a high-speed storage class to low-speed storage class. Go and edit. It provides you different options. Look at this. You can change it to intelligent tiering. You can change to one zone. You can change to glacier, deep glacier. In whichever the storage class you can want, you can change it. I want to change it to standard 1A. Save. Successfully moved my object. You can see now the object previously was standard. Now I have changed it to standard 1A. I have changed the storage class from standard storage class to standard. Any storage class you can change it. The default storage class is standard, and standard is a high-speed storage class. You may have a question, why AWS is providing different types of storage classes? In what scenarios these storage classes are used by the clients? For example, take an example of a client called Netflix, or take an example of Amazon Prime. When a new movie is released in Amazon Prime, my dear friends, try to understand. When a new movie is released in Amazon Prime, a movie is nothing but an object. Agree? A movie is nothing but an object. When a new movie, when a popular movie is released in Amazon Prime, you can expect a lot of traffic to that particular object. Agree? Many people will try to access that particular object and watch the movie because it's new. There's a lot of demand for that object. As an object is accessed by many users, it should be in a high-speed storage class because the performance of the object should be there should not be buffering issues. Have you anytime seen buffering in Amazon Prime? Have you seen anytime buffering in Netflix? When a movie is high in demand, it should be in a high-speed storage class. It should be in a high-speed storage class so that it will be available when there are many people accessing that object. It should be in a high-speed memory. The same movie will not be in demand after 3 months. Agree? The same particular movie, the first 1 month, maybe it will be demand. Let's say after 3 months, the number of users watching the movie will be very less. In such case, what the clients will do to reduce the bill, they move from high-speed storage class to low-speed storage class. All the old movies, they don't want to keep it in high-speed storage class because there will be less number of people who are accessing it. They change their objects from high-speed storage class to low-speed storage class so that they can save the bill. AWS provides you bill with respect to number of amount of data and the storage management. So when you choose your objects in high-speed storage class, you get more bill. When the objects are stored in low-speed storage class, you get the less bill. You can reduce the bill when the objects are stored in low-speed storage class. So all the older movies, they store it in low-speed storage classes. And the latest movie, they go for high-speed storage classes so that they can manage their budgets. AWS, not just storage, it provides you different classes. They provide you different classes. The bill changes from one class to other class. AWS provides a simple calculator. You can see here, search in Google. Calculator also, you can estimate the bill. When a client says that I want 100 GB of data, let's say you are an AWS team, when a client says that we are planning to save 100 GB of data into S3, how much bill I will get it? If the client wants to give an estimate, you should be in a position to do this. So search in Google, AWS S3 simple calculator, Amazon simple calculator. You want for calculation for what? Amazon S3. Yes. If you are storing in Mumbai region, if your bucket is in Mumbai region, and the amount of data which you want to store is 100 GB, okay? You can see in which storage class, S3, let's say not 100 GB, it's 1000 GB, let's say. If you are storing 1000 GB of data, your amount of bill, what you get is $24 per month. In which standard storage class? Same 1000 GB, instead of standard, if you save it in one zone, look at the bill. In standard, it is $28. Now here you're getting $15. What did I change? I have not changed the amount of storage. What did I change? I changed the storage class. If it is S3 storage class, it is giving us $24 of bill, the same amount of 1000 GB. If I store it in one zone, if I store it in S3 one zone, 1000 GB, then I'm getting the bill of how much? I'm getting the bill of $15. The bill changes. Bill changes. In the same way, you can also get the bill for EC2 machines. If you're creating EC2 machines, how many number of EC2 machines accordingly you'll get the bill. So AWS provides calculator for every service, using which you can give the estimates to the client. So the point what I want to tell you about storage classes is AWS provides different types of different storage classes. Every storage class is having its own pros and cons. The high-speed storage class is standard, the default storage class. When the objects are high in demand, they are stored in the default storage class. When they are low in demand, that will be moved from the high-speed storage class to low-speed storage class to save the bill. I hope I'm very clear in explaining you the storage classes. Any questions, please raise your hand. Yes. Nimisha. Nimisha Shingote.
Yeah, hi Sunil.
Yes,
This is just have a quick question on this. So, are there any automated way that we can manage this? Like, let's say some of the objects are not being used.
You want to automatically move your objects from high-speed storage class to low-speed
exactly.
storage
Is there
class.
a way that we can do that?
That is called lifecycle management. Okay. That is called lifecycle management. Many clients like Amazon Prime, Netflix uses this kind of lifecycle management when the object is released, when the movie is released, they store it in high-speed storage class, and you can define some rules. Okay. Nimisha, we can define
exactly.
rules. After 100 days, I want my object to be moved from high-speed storage class to low-speed. You can define that rules. Once the condition is true, automatically, you don't need to do it manually. Automatically, the objects will be moved to low-speed storage class. That is called as lifecycle management. We'll be discussing in the coming class.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And Sunil, one more question I have is exactly on the availability zones. If you go back to your EC2 instance, right? So is there a way where you can see like in under each availability zone, what are the regions that are coming? So is there a way that we can see that within?
First point. What is Mumbai? Is it a region or an availability zone?
Region.
In this region, you will have availability zone. Availability zone 1, availability zone 2, and availability zone 3. Okay. Okay. Did you understand? I think you're thinking the other way, right?
Around.
You're thinking the other way. Okay. Number of availability zones in Mumbai region. Okay. Can you see this question? How many availability zones are there in the Mumbai region? Okay. In addition to the existing region, they have one more planning to region. So there will be, right now, there are 3 in Mumbai. Okay. 3 in Mumbai. So availability zones are within the region. Inside the region, you can see it as partitions or something like that. Okay.
All right.
Am I right? I think you're thinking the other way. I think I have.
Yeah, I was just thinking. Yeah, the reverse actually. And one more question, Sunil, regarding the DevOps session. So, so I'm located in US, and the DevOps session, the timing is obviously pretty late for me.
It's very late. Yes.
So
option 1, you can wait for a few days and then you can join. We are maybe in 1 month we will be starting early morning batch. Option 1. Option 2, if you want to save time, what you can do, you can enroll for this batch. You can get the day-to-day recordings. Okay. And then once you enroll once, you can attend multiple times. You can attend second time. You don't need to pay second time. And second time, whenever the timings are comfortable, you can repeat second time. Okay. You can pay once and repeat multiple times. Okay.
Okay. Sure.
So I just want to share this information for participants who are not part of WhatsApp groups.
And even if I register later for the second batch or for the next batch, then I'll get the notification in the AWS WhatsApp chat.
Yeah, you get the notifications in AWS WhatsApp groups. Okay.
Okay.
You are in the WhatsApp group, right?
Yeah. I'm in one of them actually. So there are too many. You have named it as 79-2 or something like that.
Yeah. This is not Zoom registration link. This is WhatsApp group link. How many years of experience you're having?
I'm almost like 12 plus experience.
Okay. How do you got to know about this training?
So one of my friend actually referred this. She attended your session and she forwarded it to me.
How is your learning experience?
It's really good. It's going good.
Thank you.
So yeah, it's precise on an everyday basis. So yeah, that's what I like.
Thank you.
About it. Thank you so much.
So we are starting DevOps batch tomorrow. I have sent you the details in the chat box. Interested, please pick up and join the chat WhatsApp group. Okay, to get the more information. So this is our plan for today's session. We have discussed about 3 features. We have discussed about versioning. We have discussed about static website hosting. We have discussed about classes. Tomorrow we'll be discussing about cross-region replication, transfer ascription, encryption, bucket policies, lifecycle management. Probably these are the very less time-consuming topics. Probably by tomorrow we may complete it of S3, and then we will be moving on to identity and access. S3 is pretty simple, just about the object management, how to create an object and how to use these features as per the client requirement. Once we complete S3, the next plan is to move on to next service called as identity and access management, which is very, very interesting and very, very important. Okay. Thank you and see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.